This is a story of forbidden love, courage, and redemption. A tale of two women from different worlds who dared to love each other despite the odds. My name is Dr. Maya Rahim. For 10 years, I've devoted my life to medicine. My world was sterile rooms, long hours, and the steady hum of machines. I fixed broken bodies, but I never dared to heal my own lonely heart. That was until I met her. Her name was Officer Lara Khan. We first crossed paths in the emergency room. She stormed in, carrying a boy who'd been in an accident. Her uniform was torn, her cheek bloodied, but her voice was steady. "He needs help now," she demanded, refusing to let go of the child until I reassured her he'd be safe. I remember looking at her, not just her strength, but her eyes sharp, determined, full of fire. She didn't break down, even as her own wound bled. That night, after stitching her cheek, I teased, "You're tougher than half my patients." I don't have the luxury of falling apart. From that night forward, Lara kept showing up, sometimes with injured suspects, sometimes with her own bruises from the job. Slowly, her presence became familiar, comforting. She'd sit in my office while I bandaged her knuckles, telling stories of midnight chases and dangerous arrests. I found myself laughing more than I had in years. But it wasn't just her strength. Beneath the fearless cop was a woman who carried too much on her shoulders. She confessed one night, her voice low, "Everyone expects me to be unbreakable, but sometimes I wish I had someone to lean on." I didn't realize I reached for her hand until I felt her fingers squeeze back. Our bond deepened in secret moments, coffee breaks at the hospital cafeteria, long walks after her shifts when the city lights blurred behind us. She'd tell me how she always felt out of place, hiding the part of herself that longed for love but feared judgment. I understood more than she knew. I had buried that same part of myself for years, too afraid, too focused on duty. But Lara's presence cracked the walls I built. One evening, during a rainstorm, she appeared at my door, drenched and shaking. She had just come from a dangerous raid, and for the first time, she looked fragile. Without thinking, I pulled her into my arms. She whispered against my shoulder, "Maya." I cupped her face, my heart racing. "Then not with me?" And when our lips finally met, it wasn't explosive, it was gentle, tender, like we had both been waiting our whole lives for that moment. From then on, we lived between two worlds, her world of danger and mine of healing. She'd arrive at the hospital at odd hours, sometimes with new cuts and bruises, and I'd scold her like a worried wife. She'd grin and say, "I have my doctor. What's there to worry about?" But love isn't easy when the world expects you to hide. At work, I stayed professional, pretending we were nothing more than acquaintances. At the station, she wore her mask of steel, never letting anyone guess. Still, behind closed doors, we were free. We cooked together, laughed at silly shows, held each other through sleepless nights. She told me she dreamed of a day we wouldn't have to hide. I told her that day might come sooner than she thought. They say cops and doctors are similar, working tirelessly to save lives, often putting themselves in harm's way. But they couldn't be more wrong. Cops deal in the harsh realities of crime and violence, while doctors navigate the unpredictable complexities of the human body. Yet somehow we find ourselves thrown together, bound by our shared humanity and the desperate hope that flickers in people's eyes when they call for our help. For me, Lara was more than just a colleague. She was my anchor to this world, grounding me to the messy, beautiful reality that existed beyond the hospital walls. She showed me that vulnerability wasn't a weakness and that seeking help was a sign of strength, not a burden. In turn, I offered her a sanctuary away from the constant chaos, a place where the only sound was the gentle hum of the machines and the soft murmur of my voice. But our world was turned upside down when a routine traffic stop turned deadly. It was one of those assignments that seemed straightforward enough on paper. Just another minor offense on the beat. Adrenaline jolted through me as I raced to the scene. She looked up, catching my gaze, and for a moment, I saw a flicker of fear, quickly replaced by her usual steely resolve. Without a word, I dropped to my knees beside the victim, the weight of the situation crashing down on me. This was more than a routine stop. This was a life hanging in the balance. My hands moved swiftly, years of training kicking in as I checked for a pulse, feeling for a wound. My mind raced, calculating, planning. Every second counted. Then I heard Lara's voice, rough with exertion. Is he? I didn't have to finish her sentence. I knew what she was asking. My heart sank. I don't know yet, but we have to move fast. Time was a luxury we didn't have. Acting quickly, I applied pressure to the wound, trying to stem the flow of blood. Lara, ever the pragmatist, had already started chest compressions. Her movements, strong, efficient. We worked in tandem, a well-oiled machine, our steps in sync. Suddenly, a small movement from the victim gave me hope. A pulse. It was faint, but it was there. Relief washed over me, but I didn't dare relax. The next few minutes were agonizingly slow as we waited for backup to arrive and transport the victim to the hospital. As the ambulance sped away, its siren echoing in my ears, I turned to Lara, concern etched on my face. Her usual confidence was shaken. Her hands trembled slightly, betraying the turmoil within. "Are you okay?" I asked, my voice laced with concern. She looked up, meeting my gaze, a flicker of vulnerability crossing her features before she schooled her expression into a mask of composure. "I'm fine," she said, her voice betraying the tremor in her hands. But I saw through her facade. The incident had shaken her. In the days that followed, I watched Lara like a hawk. I knew that beneath her impenetrable facade, she was struggling. The incident had been a stark reminder of the dangers that lurked around every corner, threatening to shatter the fragile peace we had built. To ease the tension between us, I suggested a night out, a chance to unwind and let loose. She agreed, but I could tell her heart wasn't in it. Over dinner, she remained uncharacteristically silent, her gaze distant. The playful banter that usually filled our conversations was replaced by a heavy silence. Breaking the quiet, I voiced what we both knew needed to be said. "We can't keep doing this, hiding, waiting on the sidelines," I said, my voice firm with conviction. "It's time we let people in, share our story." Hope flickered in her eyes, but doubt soon clouded them. "What if they don't understand?" she whispered, her voice laced with fear. "Then we'll understand," I replied, reaching across the table to take her hand. "Because what I've learned with you is this: love isn't about hiding. It's about facing the world hand in hand, sharing the journey, the highs and lows, the laughter and the tears." Their words hung in the air between them, a challenge, a promise, a plea. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with potential pitfalls, but the alternative, the prospect of a life lived in shadows, filled with regret and unspoken truths, was unbearable. Their love story was far from a fairy tale. It was a testament to the human spirit, a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. The love between a cop and a doctor, a bond forged in the fires of adversity, promising to stand the test of time together. They would face whatever challenges lay ahead, their love story unfolding like an epic saga, reminding us that love, in its most profound form, conquers all.